Hey everybody, this is Miss Kent with today's phonics lesson. This is really not a phonics lesson on a phonics sound. I'm going to be talking about prefixes and suffixes, which are called affixes. You might also see the term Greek and Latin roots used because some of our prefixes and suffixes actually come from the Greek and Latin language. So that's why they're called that. But not all affixes are Greek or Latin derivatives. They don't come from those languages. So I've put an Affixo chart up here. And why is it called that? Because here in the middle you'll see we'll have our root or base word. Then I have suffix and prefix. But here's the thing. Some words might have more than one prefix or more than one suffix. Or they could have a suffix and a prefix. And the base word sometimes might change when we add that to it, meaning it might drop an E or something like that. So let's look at some basic words. So the word helpful. The base word or root word is help. The suffix would be full. So the word is helpful. But what if I add another suffix? Helpfulness. Now, helpfulness is not a word that I would commonly use, but it is actually a word in the English language. Helpfulness. Maybe she shows one of her traits is she's a trait of helpfulness. Helpfulness. Let's look at another word. Equipment. Now, equipment is a word that you might not think has a suffix or a prefix. Equipment meaning something that you place on something else to make it work. So, equipment actually has the base word equip, which means that you're giving to or putting it on. Equip. And the suffix is meant, equipment, okay? Now think about your game, like your little PlayStation or your Nintendo Switch, and it might come with extra controllers, and you want to equip your system with that equipment. It's kind of an add-on to it. Let's talk about the word remark. The base word here would be mark, and the prefix would be re. Can anybody think of a suffix I could add to that word? Mark, remark, remarkable. Now, if I just had remark, that might mean I need to add a comment, or if I remarked about something, I said something. But if something was remarkable, it was able for you to say something about. So if it was remarkable, it had a trait that you would want to speak about. Typically something that is remarkable goes above and beyond. It's better than the original. So you would have a reason to talk about that, to make a remark, because there was something good about it. Or you could actually say, I can't believe he did that. That was remarkable. Even if it was something bad. But typically people use remarkable when they're talking about something that's amazing that happened. You could also have will. Like, will you do something? Oh, I'll do that willingly. Is it? Oh, let me write that down. That word kind of looks funny. Sometimes when I come across a word, I'm like, does that look right? It helps me to write it down. I guess it is ly, willingly. He willingly did that. What if he didn't want to do it? What's a prefix I could add to make that mean that he not? What about the prefix un? Unwillingly. If you willingly did something, you did it with your own free will on your own. But if you unwillingly did it, you didn't want to do it at all. Okay? Now here's a word, respect. Now we tend to think that re is a prefix, but is there a base word that we know that is spect? Can spect stand alone? No, spect is not a word alone. The word is respect. Now, you could be respectful, meaning you are very respectful, you're full of respect. But what if I wanted to add a suffix, or excuse me, a prefix to it to mean not respectful? That's right, I would add disrespectful. Okay? I want to stop and talk about some words now that the base word or the root word is altered a bit when we add these affixes to them. So let me clear my Affixo chart. If you'd like to get a piece of notebook paper out, you could even draw your own chart at this time. If you'll pause the video on your notebook paper, you can put base words, suffixes, and prefixes so you can attempt to fill your chart out as I go along. So if you'd like to fill your chart out with me, you can make your own chart, and as we go along, fill yours in. Okay, now, sorry, I'm trying to find exactly what I'm looking for. With my house being a mess, it's hard to have everything ready to go like I usually do. Okay, so sorry. Now, let's look at a word that changes a little bit. And the word that I want to look at is tricycle. Tricycle. And I'm going to write it down on this separate board so you can see the way tricycle looks. Tricycle. What is the base word here? The base word. The base word here is cycle. Cycle. So on my chart here, I'm going to write cycle. And a cycle is something that goes around and around. But here my prefix was tri, meaning 3. Is this word a tricycle? No, we say tricycle. So the root word, the base word, is cycle, not sickle. But when we put that prefix on it, it changes cycle to sickle. Tricycle. 3 wheels. Bicycle, 2 wheels. Okay, let's look at another word. This word is starvation, meaning that you're very hungry. Starvation. We had the little phrase, starvation or hunger is the best sauce. meaning that when you're very hungry, you don't need extra sauce or anything to make your food taste better. So the word starvation, when I write that word out, it actually looks like this. Starvation. So what is the root word of starvation? Now we're thinking the prefix is probably T-I-O-N. So is the word starve? Starve? The root word here would actually be starve. Starve. And when we add the T-I-O-N, we're actually going to drop that E and add A-T-I-O-N. So the word is starvation. But when we add that suffix, it changes the spelling of the word. Take a minute to think about that, because a lot of us, that's kind of a lot for us. Okay, I'm going to do another one. And this is the word miserable. If you're miserable, you are not happy. Miserable. So take a minute. What's the root word here? Now I'm thinking I know the affix is the prefix able. Miser. Have you ever heard the word miser? I know I haven't. Here the root word would be misery. Misery. Okay? Miserable, you're going to drop that vowel. I see a little bit of a pattern here. Misery, vowel sound. Able, vowel sound. Miserable. You're not going to have two vowels there. Starvation. We change that up. Now, I can't say that happens for every word, but when you're looking at these much larger words, think about what is the smaller word, the root word or the base word. If it's not a word, you need to think of a word that sounds like that, because a lot of times we can figure out what a word is based on other roots that we know. I hope this is going to help you with your vocabulary assignments for the week. If you have any questions, please give Miss Kent a call or Miss Dendelbeck or Christa Foley. Have a great week.